Good evening.
How are we doing?
We're doing good.
We're back at Finnegan's Wednesday night at Finnegan's.
Cheers.
What
Cheers,
are we on
everyone.
tonight, Tom?
It's Tiger, isn't it?
It's Tiger beer, yeah. Tiger beer on the pump tonight.
That's very good. It's lovely,
it's
that.
Lovely, yeah. We've already started, as you can see.
We have.
You know, but never mind.
Give us a hello. Let us know you're watching. It's nice to have a few of you in already.
Let us know what you're drinking as well.
Nice to see you, Ray. Thanks for joining us. And Miriam, Emma, Mel's in.
We've still got hashtag Ray's Horn is still available.
Ray's Horn is still available in the competition, which we'll be doing later on tonight. Finnegan's Fortunes.
Finnegan's Fortunes. Still never won.
It's never, well.
No. It's never been won.
It did get won by...
No, that was Ferguson's Fortunes. We had this discussion last week, and you just don't listen, do you?
You're mad.
No,
you are mad, and
no,
people are people are working it out now that you are mad.
You were too soft when you had.
You
Mikey
go away,
and
I'm generous to people.
You're too generous.
Well, you're stingy.
You're too graceful. You're too merciful. You can't be all that all the time.
All right. Well, we're going to be proper strict tonight then.
Yeah.
We've got our special guest tonight is Tony Vino, and he's ace, and he's going to be. We're going to get him on early because
we're getting him on early. He's that good.
He's that good. He's going to come and join us. He's driven over from Manchester, people, but don't let that influence your feeling about him.
Get him on the wall because he's not from Manchester. Let's get that out now because otherwise he'll be hated, Tom.
He will be hated.
He's got no chance of getting on the world. He just happens to live there. Unfortunately,
it's the place, and then it's people from Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the hierarchy.
He's from Preston. So God bless him. Someone had to be. You know what I mean? So.
It's good.
So
Craig's in. Craig's saying good evening. Nice to see you, Craig.
Craig. Nice to see you, mate. You're back home. I've noticed lately. You're doing all right.
Tau's in. Tau won Nugget of the Week last week.
She did.
She didn't want the nougat from me though. She did a runner when I tried to give.
That's because you're a Tory.
She did.
And she just run away from you.
She said my parents told me never to trust Tories and just walked away.
It's right.
Yeah. Although I'm not a Tory. I'm trying to say that because it is getting dangerous now.
You know what? I've actually come to the thing today. I was thinking about it and I was thinking, well, calling Tom a Tory, it's not that good because he's not a Tory.
Yeah.
And I thought of something worse. Right?
Well, what?
So worse than calling you a Tory.
Go on.
I'm going to say you're a Lib Dem.
A Lib Dem? That's not worse than a Tory.
It is.
Really?
Because they're awful, aren't they? The Lib Dems.
What do they stand for? In the middle.
Yeah, but they're awful. What do they do?
I don't think we should do politics.
I reckon Tony's a Lib Dem. Tony's a Lib Dem.
Don't ask Tony because that's.
He's not a Tory. Can't be a Tory. He's from Manchester. You know what I mean? Well, he's not. He's from Preston, so he's all right.
So last week we had Rob and Lou Beamish in, and they were great. Rob's a Baptist minister. He told us not to tell people which church he was from.
Princess
and you told him straight. You told everyone straight away.
Yeah.
And so we had people from his church who give him feedback and that.
Did he?
Feedback is a very generous word. Isn't it?
You're being generous again.
Generous.
Yeah. He's probably like really scared to come on this because he's the poshest person I know.
And
he proved it, didn't he? When we were talking to him last week.
He'd been to Oxford. He'd studied...
Done 2 degrees in Oxford.
2 degrees. He'd studied ballet as a child.
It's Billy Elliot,
which is amazing. Yeah. And he didn't he have a family
member to private school
who owns like an apartment?
Yeah, he's got an apartment
in New York.
2 blocks away from the Empire State Building.
The Eiffel Tower, you're about to say.
Did say that.
Geography. Strong point for Alan.
Hey, I got a grade 1 CSE in geography in school. It's one of the best results I got.
You're so old, I don't even know what that means.
It's like a C at GCSE.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a pass.
Good. Yeah.
It's a proper pass.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't know. I was the only one in the school to get it.
But you did also get a first class theology degree, didn't you? So there you go. Stick that
with
down
honours.
your pipe. With honours.
Yeah, with honours. But yeah, so.
Anyway,
we're
not talking about that, are we? So if you're tuning in for the first time tonight, welcome to Wednesday night at Finnegan's. Me and Alan are both Baptist ministers in Bootle. How did that happen? But it has. We're in now.
We're still here.
We're in. They can't get rid of us. They've tried. And
for
so
life.
It is. It's like
bad boys for life.
It's not the
bad boys. Oh, what you gonna do?
It's not the coolest gig, though, is it?
Could be Baptist boys. Oh, what you gonna do? Oh, what you gonna do when they come for you? Baptist boys. Oh, I'm in a funny mood tonight, Tom.
Alec, Tony's just looking at you like you are nuts.
Tony's never seen me like this. He normally sees me quite depressed while I'm driving to Maidstone. which is a long way away in case you didn't know, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Well, you got a 6.5 out of 10.
6.75, apparently.
6.75
average out of 10, yeah. So
we'll talk to Tony about that. So we've got Tony on tonight. If you've got any questions for Tony, throw them in the comments. We'll ask him those. We've got Finnegan's Fortunes. We've got Tom's Top Tips. We're going to see whether Tony makes it onto the wall. And also, we have got our Nugget of the Week competition. In case you don't realise, you got the opportunity.
Tony's a former winner.
Tony is
with
a former
6.75 comment.
He won this nougat, and he
there was
enjoyed
a picture
every
of him on our
bite.
socials.
He
loved it.
He enjoyed
Loved it.
So if you want to be Nugget of the Week, all you need to do keep throwing your comments up in the chat.
Yeah.
And if we pick yours out as the funniest comment, then
Nuggets on the way to you.
Nuggets on the way to you.
We meant to ask Tony to bring one of his books, but I forgot because we could have sent you one of his books as well. Never mind. Maybe he'll post one to you. We'll see. We'll see. See how generous he is and how much he wants to get on the wall. You know what I mean?
Anyway, shall we get him straight on?
He's got 2 books.
Shall we welcome him straight off? Let's welcome him.
Tony
Welcome everyone,
Vino.
Tony Vino.
Tony Vino.
Yes, Tony.
Guys, I don't know, it's bringing back all sorts of kind of insecurities where you've stuck me in the corner of a cold shed while you guys are having a great time chatting to each other. And that's and Tony's over there. Yeah. Shut up, you. As long as I didn't have to drive through an hour of pouring rain to get it. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We have literally, Finnegan's is massive, isn't it? It's a massive establishment, but we've put Tony at a right old distance over there.
Well, you have to, don't you? You have to keep your distance. Till he's on the wall, he has to keep his distance.
This is an audition, Tony.
This is an audition, yeah.
Don't feel any pressure.
Well, guys, no, honestly, I'm really excited to be here. I mean, because of all the things I could be doing on a Wednesday. It is. There is a fine line between a podcast and a hostage situation, really, guys. I'm still not decided yet where you've got me.
Your face when Alan started singing, I thought he's had enough already. Never mind.
Only another 4 hours to go, Tony.
That's it.
Strap in.
Very good. So how's your week been, Tony? What have you
been up to?
What have you been up to?
Been a good week so far. So let's have a think. Right, so today and yesterday, and I'm doing this tomorrow as well, I've been doing workshops. Right now, I've not been running. I've been a participant in this project. There's a guy called David Glass.
Okay.
And he runs a thing called the Lost Child Project, right? It's really interesting. And the idea of how to use play to get the creative juices flowing. I know, and it sounds sort of Ponzi, right? But
I mean, in fairness, that's the exact word that was in my head, but I thought, I'm not sure that's politically correct that I can say that word. But literally, I was thinking, this does sound Ponzi. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you.
Just as I was talking, I was like, there's a voice in my head going, don't tell them. Don't say this to them. Just say you've been...
Just say you've been minding the kids.
Yeah, you know, building a shed or something like that. Something that they'd respect.
Something manly.
What does that involve?
Yeah,
what we need to know.
This is the thing, right? I wasn't entirely sure. So I got invited onto this workshop series, right? And the guy's very interesting. So I'm 44. When he was 44, he was a theatre practitioner for loads of years. Then he basically got bored, disenfranchised with what he was doing, right? You guys know what that means. Yeah.
So he starts as a podcast.
Yeah. And when that inevitably failed,
I'm really intrigued now. This is what we end up doing, Alan. We're going to be rolling around on the floor.
We're going to be
child's play,
eating a biscuit and drinking milk on a mat. That's what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
So his story is, you've got to start with the stories, right? So he, after 20 years of being a theatre practitioner, he was a director and all this kind of stuff. He basically got bored and disenfranchised, and then he just went away and he went out to Brazil, and then on a bit of a kind of like sabbatical, as you call it, and he was watching street children play for like and he was just out there for weeks, months, and he just said, as he watched that and he looked at the ways that they were interacting and playing, and everything was on the level.
Dancing, by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll see he's a big guy. He's not the sort of type for capoeira or anything like that. But basically, and then he basically designed this program of play, but for adults to kind of engage with what's called the lost child. Because as you get older, there's a sense in which you take on all sorts of responsibilities and all this kind of stuff, and that kind of playful, youthful side, and unlocking that. And it sounds something and nothing, but you basically do games. And it's like it's like a playground, and you know as adults, and you play games. You know, like the slaps game. You know, where you put your hand on another person's hand and then you slap their hand like that, and then you pull your hand away and stuff like that. And then he'll talk about. Okay.
Don't you ever feel like just slapping his face? Just going, mate, how much have you charged me for this? Bang!
That is how we played that game at my school.
But I was, as someone. And I have run some workshops and retreats, stuff like that. What I was dead impressed with was that right, there's a sense in which it's very good, but also it's something and nothing. So how, like, when I first ran workshops years ago, I remember thinking I packed it full of content because I was dead nervous about my own credentials and what I've done. Whereas he doesn't have any, hardly any structure, and there's a couple of games, then he'll talk it through and all that. And it's like the idea that you play the trickster. You come in, disrupt things, and it's fascinating. And the problem is, when you describe it, it doesn't sound like anything, but it's very profound.
Yeah,
the idea of play.
I'm getting the fact that it doesn't sound like most of it. When you just get out of it, it's a bit like me and you, Thomas. He's basically saying he's got no script. That's basically what he said.
How much does he charge?
How much was that? Come on, tell us how much it was.
So for me, right?
Did you get a discount?
As you know, Alan, we've gigged a lot together. So I'm coming to the idea that I'm not. So I call myself a comedian, but I would say I'm more of a variety
You
performer.
are an entertainer, I would say.
I'm going variety performer
Very
because
good.
there is, when I perform, there's a variety of responses.
Yeah. I'll call myself that as well then.
So variety. So the idea, and interestingly, I go into adult environments, comedy clubs, cruise ships, corporate events, wherever, and tell jokes and all that, get people laughing, but also get people to play. And I think that's it. And once you break down some barriers, it's magical.
So you haven't told us how much it was. You're avoiding telling us how much you've spent for these 3 sessions.
Oh, he can't blow his mate up. But I think it's going to be a lot of money.
It's a lot for what it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, we'll let you off the hook there.
So, when Alan supports you, how does that go, Tony? Because he's notoriously bad at comedy. So, how do people respond? Does it make it harder for you when Alan supports you? Like you have to really try hard.
You should pull it out the bag.
Yeah.
He takes me because I then make him look good.
That's it. I was wondering, is that the game plan?
Happens.
It's like I've got a man who can make me look really
Put
good.
Alan on. Let him do his 20, 25, 30, whatever it is, and they'll be crying for me.
Just before people were getting up to leave, bring on Tony Vino, the big guns.
Listen,
Ministers do that when they book me for do church gigs and that. Yeah. They bring me in because they know that the congregation's going to go, wow, we could have had him. Let's stick with what we've got, eh? This fella's amazing.
Listen, I in all honesty, as you know, Alan came to me. It was last week, wasn't it? And we went down to Maidstone, and Alan genuinely, absolutely smashed it on the drive down. Absolute bladder-like iron.
And the way back.
So Alan was driving. Beautiful. Now I see what you want to do for this arrangement.
That's why he takes me. I drive.
Stand-up comedian.
And I've got a van that does 70 miles to a gallon. So he was loving it.
Listen. If Uber could do it a tight 20, but
very good.
But Alan, no, do you know what? We had a good time, didn't we, Alan? And the audience.
He took me for a walk.
Oh, yeah.
He took me. He does this to me all the time,
mate.
He took me for a walk. He literally, he does it all the time. He says, "Let's just go for a little walk. Little walks, like nice, miles." And he said, "We'll go and see the Heath."
The Heath.
I've never,
in Maidstone.
The Heath in Maidstone, right? So he's got me going through these back alleys all the way up this bit. There's women coming the other way, terrified, looking at us, right? And he's literally got me, and we're going miles, and it's all uphill and all. And I'm thinking, where are you taking me here? And he goes, "I'm taking you to see the Heath." We get to the Heath. The Heath. Heath is a field. It's a field. It's not. It's nothing. It's a field. I don't know where to get the name Heath from. It was a field. That was it.
They dress it up down south, don't they? You know, it was a field with a few trees.
And then we had to walk all the way back.
But I was surprised. I mean, Alan, you're older than I am, that you couldn't quite grasp the idea of a leisurely walk.
A leisurely walk?
Yeah.
You were like a sergeant major. You were striding it out. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a little bit more portly than you. And a little bit less athletic. But he took me for a walk. We went to a retreat, Super God Comedy retreat, and he said, "Before we have tea, come and have a little walk. I want to show you something." He took me up these fields, miles away, right? We didn't get there in the end because I couldn't breathe anymore. We were at altitude, right?
Slipping on cow path.
And then we're on our way home. It's pitch black at this point, right? And I fell over, got covered in mud. And he's like, "This will be good for you." It's not good for me, Tony. Look at me. Look at me.
It is hilarious. It's like taking a recalcitrant child.
I could help you on your course, couldn't I? Hey.
Yeah. You got the lost child.
Discovery.
Yeah, me. Yeah, Maidstone. We had a bit of a laugh, though, didn't we? We had a bit of a laugh.
Great. We
it was
had a
good.
great time.
He does this thing sometimes where he has a balloon, and I won't ruin it in case people haven't seen him. But he has a balloon, and he talks about dreams and ambitions, and it's really good. And then he's supposed to get in the balloon and do something at the end, right? But he put the balloon on his head, and the balloon explodes. So Tony, ever like ready for anything, he ran and jumped under the table. They didn't know what was going on at the table. They were all like, "What was going on here?" Tony did his thing under the table and came back out. Yeah,
in a different costume, didn't he?
Very good. Very good.
But we had a good night.
Yeah. It was good, and Alan did really well. The only problem Alan had was you know, when you come out and you've got to be careful who you banter with first, and the table he chose were
I didn't choose them. Go on, carry on. They were right in front of me. I couldn't miss them.
No,
Who sits the special needs table in front of you?
It was. And Alan kept going. It was like going 60 miles an hour down a cul-de-sac. I was like, this is going
I couldn't
nowhere.
get them to shut up.
Yeah,
I couldn't. They wouldn't shut. Honestly, wouldn't shut up. Were you there when Steve Legg come to our church?
Yes. Yeah.
It was the same as that.
Okay.
It was the same as that.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. And I was just like, "Oh dear, what do I do?"
There's no escape.
There was no, and they were just talking to me back all the time, and I was like,
And there was something wonderful, you know, and it genuinely was like, you know,
they spoke to me at the end, and
brilliant. But it was just like the audience were like, is he deliberate? Is this how he starts everything? Just in a confused diatribe with some people that don't know when to stop talking.
What life is on about. They don't even know where they are. I spoke to one fellow who was like their carer, I think.
Yeah.
But it turns out he wasn't their carer. He was just one of them. Because he spoke to me at the end and he was like, "Oh, it was really good, that, mate." Oh. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're one of them, aren't you?"
The unelected leader.
he was the one that had teeth.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Oh, we're getting into trouble now, Tom.
I'm moving on. Part of my role at our church is to try and keep Alan in his job.
Yeah.
That's part of my role.
and not incarcerated.
Yeah.
Do you know a Dan Bellamy, Tony?
Hiya, Dan. Yeah, I know
He's saying,
Dan.
Any chance of a hello from Tony Vino, please? He's a dear friend.
To be honest, Dan, you know my number. We actually talk on the phone. So there's every
Give him a ring.
You just give me a call.
If I ring him now, see if his phone's on.
Because that is, people do say that. Oh, do send my love.
Yeah, send my regards. It's quite a
Have you got the number? Yeah.
Yeah, you just send them yourself.
It's a really inefficient form of texting.
Anyway, Dan, it's good to have you in, mate.
Yeah.
Seems like he's your first time visitor to Finnegan's.
Thanks for coming in for the night, Dan. Nice to see you here, mate. Very good.
Who else is in, Tom? Have we got any more in?
Mel's in. Yep, she said hello. How
Hello,
you doing,
Mel?
Dawn's saying she can't believe how different you are from school, from the Georges.
I was shy, wasn't I, Dawn? I keep trying to tell this nugget, but he doesn't believe me. No.
Well, no, people are on to you now because you said on the podcast that you don't talk to people, you don't talk to new people at church because you think it's unlikely that they're going to return, and so you don't talk to them. And people are on to you now, so new people are starting to say.
It's not that I don't like new people. I do, but I'm shy. So I think to myself, how do I explain this? It's hard for me to talk to new people. Yeah. It really makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
You look really uncomfortable when you talk to new people.
I know. I am uncomfortable when I talk to new people. But if I know them for a little bit, I'm then all right with them after about a few weeks
about
or so.
9 years.
No, but often they don't stay in our church because our church is a particular style, isn't it? Because I don't talk to them. You're blaming me now.
The people I don't talk to never come back.
You're blaming me, aren't you? I've got a condition.
Yeah, plenty of them.
I'm not well. You know what I mean? And you're like getting into me. You're getting into me.
Anyway,
because I find it difficult to talk to new people.
That's nothing.
That's it. I like new people.
Yeah.
But if they stay around for maybe 2 or 3 months, then I'm fine with them.
Then you're fine.
It's just them first 2 or 3 months I struggle to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm not being rude to you. I do like you. I just can't talk to you because it makes me anxious.
Yeah. Well, Mark says it's hard for new people to talk to you as well, mate. That's what he said.
Who's that?
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams. Mark's in. Well done, Mark. I'm still quite impressed with his impersonation of me, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had Mark Williams on. Have you met Mark before?
He knows Mark.
I know Mark. You know Mark really well, yeah.
And he had a fantastic impersonation for Alan, which I can only assume he started practicing when Alan was on Britain's Got Talent and then was really disappointed when...
I've heard him do it before.
It's a very niche
it's a very
impersonation
niche
now. In fact, it was only here that I think
it's the only place it works.
Came into its own.
Yeah.
Really.
So what's been happening in your week, Tom?
What's been happening in my week?
Yeah.
Saddened by the news of Coolio passing away.
Coolio passed away.
That was from my. Were you a fan of Coolio, Tony? I'm just going to close this door.
Well, what?
It's gone all cold in here, hasn't it?
You know what I don't know of the Coolio back catalogue song isn't worth knowing. I wouldn't say I was a massive fan, but Gangsters, was it Gangsters Paradise?
Was Gangsters Paradise.
There you go, was a song that I was aware of.
You were aware of
it? Aware of it.
If we were to put you on the spot now, do you think you could sing it?
Well, of course, because I've been singing it half my life since I've been living in a
Gangsters Paradise.
Old Trafford, Manchester. Yes, I could sing it. I don't think I could do it justice, but
Alan, do you know what? Alan can actually do a great Gangsters Paradise.
Really?
It's your go-to.
It's not
song.
A cocktail, is it, Alan?
It's my go-to karaoke song.
You're kidding me?
No.
It is.
So I'm couldn't at the moment.
So
once. And there's no pandemic on. This is my moment.
Classic.
There are people saying, sing it.
Sing it. Come on,
Sal's saying sing it.
Sing it.
You.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll sing it, but I need a bit of backing.
Some people are saying, who is Coolio? You've missed that one.
You've never lived.
You've never lived.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll need a bit of backing though.
How does it go?
I'll sing it. It goes, dun, 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 dun,
okay.
Dun, dun.
Is that what we have to do?
Dun, dun,
are we really doing this?
Yeah, we're doing it. Come on, let's do it.
Tony, can you do that as well?
Karaoke. Can you do that as well, Tony? Dun, 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 dun.
Should we put a bit of echo on?
Put a bit of echo on it, yeah. Dun,
wait for it.
Dun,
here it is.
Dun,
wait.
Dun, 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 dun. Anytime now. Dun, dun,
there we go.
Dun, dun. One more time. Dun, 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 As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realise there's much left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I have never trust a man that didn't deserve it. Made me treated like a punk, you know. That's unheard of.
You better.
You better watch how you're talking or where you're walking, or you and your homies will be lined in chalk.
Can't believe you did that.
I really hate to trip, but I gotta lope.
Stop.
As they croak, I see myself
Tony,
in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like on my knees in the night saying prayers in the street light.
He's had a stroke.
I'm D-Mob happy because this is the penultimate episode of this season, isn't it?
It
and
is.
I'm not here next week.
So, Tom, are you actually upset that Coolio has passed away?
Coolio, I mean, yeah, I think for my generation, he was the one.
He was gangster.
Well, because you're slightly young. Because it's for me. If Vanilla Ice goes,
Yeah.
I'm taking a week off work. That's my gen. That's my gen.
What was his big tune?
What do you mean? What's his
Ice
big-
Baby.
Ice Baby, flipping heck.
Come on, I'm not doing that one.
Thank goodness
Tony
for that.
can though.
Yo, stop, collaborate, and listen. Forget it, guys. Forget it.
There he is. Look what Vanilla Ice got you. 8 Mile. Yeah.
There's a bit. There's a
Don't you remember 8 Mile?
I do, but you shouldn't.
Remember the rap battle in 8 Mile?
Yes.
Look where Vanilla Ice got you. Yeah. Remember?
You're too old
Boss.
to watch 8 Mile.
Oh, shut up. Have we still got echoes on here? Because I can hear something.
He did a
It's just
film,
your
actually,
hearing's
Vanilla
going.
Ice. Did you remember? Did any of you watch the film he was in? And there was an iconic scene.
Was it
where-
Top Gun?
No, it was like the
Oh, no, that was the
Vanilla
Iceman,
Ice, the
wasn't it?
movie. You know, whatever it is. It's called Ice. I forget what it was called. Someone will text it in, I'm sure.
Let us know what it was called, Ice.
And there's an iconic moment in where the girl he fancies basically is with someone who's a bit of a geek, and then they're in a car, and then he drives up alongside in a motorbike and just goes, "Hey baby, drop the zero and get with the hero." And then she goes off with him. And you think,
That
how
works.
fickle are you?
That's-
If that's what's going to turn someone.
Vanilla Ice. What a
Wow,
guy.
what a guy. What a guy.
So, yeah.
What
So,
a wine.
what else has been happening in your world this week, Tom?
You were building my extension slowly. I'm not that happy with the standard of the work, I've got to be honest. If you could speed up.
Do you know what, Tony? You got me to do it. Can you help me with me extension, mate?
Yeah.
Can you help me, mate?
I'm not Australian.
You are. Like, you're a nugget, right? But literally, help me with me extension, mate. Gets me there. Got to underpin the house. Got to do all sorts.
Right.
All sorts. And he's just went, I got you a pasty. Here's a Holland steak and pepper pie.
You love those pies.
I do love them pies. Iceland. Anyone wants to buy me some steak and pepper pies, I'm up for
Can you
it.
help me
Yeah.
with your extension? See, there's a fine line between help and could you do my
It is.
extension? So
It is.
I just think you've pulled
It's a
it in
very
there.
fine line.
I
Tony.
think.
And then gets me there and goes, oh, by the way, mate, want to build a summer house as well. Oh, and could you scrape the top up there, up down densities? Oh, and could you put a duct in for some water so I can get it down to me barbecue area?
You're making it sound like I live in some sort of fancy manor.
Well, you're a Tory.
Stop this.
You're a Tory.
We're getting
You've got
asked-
your eating on in the house.
We're being asked by Stephen Cookson if
Yeah.
Tony Vino might do his Lion King at the end of the show. What is that, Tony? What is your
I
Lion
brought
King?
my poppers. Right,
Your poppers.
yeah, I shouldn't even say that in Bootle, should I?
You could have told us earlier.
Thought you were a bit weird.
So one of the ways I sometimes end a show is I do a Lion King the musical, and I let off some poppers and get people dressed up but I just don't think it's the
The right
I don't think-
environment.
yeah.
We haven't got enough people. We haven't got enough people here tonight.
Yeah, you're about 12 people short. To be honest, but thanks for
Remember you
asking,
did it.
Stephen.
Remember you did it at the Northwest Baptist Ministers Conference, and you set the fire alarm off. Do you remember it? To be evacuated because of you.
Good night.
You were there, weren't you?
I wasn't there for that.
Wasn't you there for that
didn't
one,
invite
no?
me to
Yeah.
that one.
Oh no, they had him come and do comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were going to have Coolio this year, but
Snuffed it. Yeah. Wow.
Dan's letting us know the film was called Cool as Ice. Of course it is. Cool as Ice.
Cool as I thanks,
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Legend.
And
Clearly a fan.
yeah. And Carolyn Gardner, I know Carolyn. Where's her comment? She's put is, who is Tony Vino, please, as I've never heard of him as on yet.
You're not on your own, Carolyn.
That's the question.
You're not on your own.
That's the question.
The nuggets of the week at the moment.
That could be. She won't know why she's won,
She
but
won't
that's
know why
brilliant.
she's won, but
that
no.
is brilliant, Carolyn. Well, tell us, Tony, a little bit about yourself.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
A very smooth
Leads
transition into that.
The fact that I've got to justify myself to Carolyn Gardner feels an all-time career low. I don't even.
She's lovely, Carolyn.
What is it?
Yeah,
You meet them on the way up and on the way down. So nice to see you again, Carolyn.
Carolyn, if you don't book any gigs, I'm not bothered. Yeah. Well,
Very
Carolyn.
good.
It's a good. Thanks, Carolyn.
It's a good question.
No, it's a very deep existential question, to be honest, Carolyn.
You'll be dealing with that at the inner child thing tomorrow, I think. Who is Tony Vino? Who am I? Why am I here? You're thinking, why am I here?
Crikey. So, yes, Carolyn, I live in Manchester, central Manchester, Old Trafford. I have a wife, 2 children, a dog, and a shed.
As nice as this shed.
I'm not entirely sure. Past that, I do gigs around. I've been doing comedy 17 years now.
17 years. That's incredible.
The fact that I've not come onto Carolyn's radar means that you know
There's room for improvement.
Yeah, I should really up quality over quantity, to be honest. So,
But you originally you weren't in. How did we meet? We met with me.
You were in Manchester,
and I asked
studying.
to meet you up to talk to you about comedy for my dissertation.
Yes, exactly. You were doing a dissertation.
That was the first time we ever met.
You were at the Bible College there,
Luther
weren't
King
you?
House, yeah.
Flipping it, and you'd been there since 1972. So you enjoyed it that much. You were like, I'm gonna go. You know when someone goes on a roller coaster and you go, yes, again. Come on, let's go on.
I've done the first year 4 times.
4 times.
I could have taught the class.
Just couldn't pass it.
Just couldn't pass it now. Yeah. So we met in Manchester when I was doing my dissertation. I interviewed a few Christian comedians. You were one I knew of. So you must be quite famous as a Christian comedian, Carolyn. He is actually.
I've seen.
I mean, he does
Tony,
Spring Harvest and all that.
He's hilarious, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's very, very
Tim
good.
Vine, you might have heard of Tim Vine. Maybe not, Carolyn. I don't know. But he's sort of a little bit of a comedian.
Carolyn, is she just confused and just going, "Who are you? And what are you doing in my house?
Why are you on the telly? Is this the Masked Singer?
Here's your medicine, Carolyn. Come on, get back into your room."
Well, she's actually said now we would like to go and see him at his next gig then soon. But
yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
I'm here. I'm at Alan's house.
I'm at Alan's house around the corner.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carol.
Very good.
So we met, blah, 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 blah. And I know a bit of your story, but you weren't always going to be a stand-up comedian, were you? What were you originally training?
So grew up in Preston and I studied law. So I did do theatre at college. So I always loved like entertaining, and it was and I used to love making people laugh. Back in my day, it was I used to watch Big Night Out. Remember Vic Reeves' Big Night Out?
Yeah.
And I used to love it as a kid, doing the sketches, making people laugh. Did theatre, and then I did law at Leeds University, and I studied law and went on to do a thing called jurisprudence, which is legal philosophy. Right?
Wow.
Which is like, if a lawyer falls down in the middle of a field, does anybody care? I'm not entirely sure what jurisprudence.
And is there a claim?
And then I lived in Leeds, doing all that for a few years, and it was in 2005, a friend called John Dorset set up a comedy night in Leeds in the city centre, and I had a really gentle introduction to comedy, because he said, "Could you just host the night?" Because I'd done acting and drama and presenting and all that kind of stuff, and I said, "Yeah," and it's a great, if you ever want to get into comedy, I would suggest begin by hosting like a sort of low-key gig, and so I would come on and. You know, like I think the first night we had like Gary Delaney was there, and,
wow.
you know, other people, and I'd do a bit and I'd interact, and then there was this kind of magic alchemy where people laugh, and I think that was it was so intoxicating, this idea that I'm going to talk and people laugh, and then I just every month I did it, and then eventually, and it was weird. You start like you could never dream that you could do this as a job, like because it's like it's ridiculous. It's just. You know, it's essentially you don't really get paid for the comedy. You get paid to do the driving, don't you? That's what you get paid. You're like a courier that does jokes, right?
Deliveroo for comedy.
But he did. I started getting shows, and then I had a few nights myself that I'd organise and put on, and then I get booked, and then it was, and then I was carrying on doing my old job, but then it starts to they start to kind of cross over, not like that I'd heckle clients or something like that, like who get off, but there was times that, like, there was once I had this little company, and one of my clients at the time was the British. It was basically the British Gas would have this monthly report on how the state of the it's EDF Energy, how the state of the nation's energy supply, right? Just to bring get everyone happy thinking about that. Yeah. This was like 20 years ago, and so my company had a little company where we'd do like we'd package it together in a little presentation, put it online, and it was and I remember doing a gig the night before, and all I had to do was email the presentation to a guy in my company who did the presentation and put it up online, and the nation were waiting for this every month. It's like, how's gas and energy and coal prices and this, and it was, and I'd done a gig the night before in Berska or something like that, and I'd fallen asleep, and I never got up till about midday. And all hell pay. When you switch on your phone and you've got like 50 phone calls missing and all this. And that was the moment when I was like, right, I have to now think about doing this and getting paid for it. And it moved on.
Amazing.
I mean, as you've said earlier, me and we've done gigs together.
We've done a lot of gigs together.
We've done a few, and we've also done gigs that when you've got a better offer, you sort of ring me and say, Finnegan. And that's how it starts the conversation. Not Alan, it's Finnegan.
Finnegan.
Do you fancy doing a church weekend for me? Let me tell you, these are a great bunch of guys. You'll have a blast. It's amazing. But I've got a cruise gig that's paying me $2,000. So, like, will you go to that and see how much you can blag off them? I did this gig. I know it happened. I've got a few more yet. Don't worry. Right? I did this gig for them. They're like, can you do it? I've double booked myself. Got this cruise gig. It's and all that. Can you go and do this church weekend men's retreat? All right, Tony, I'll do it. Yeah. They'll pay you. Don't worry. It's sorted, mate. You go and do it. I gets there. Tony, I gets there. I does the gig. At one point, it got all emotional with some fella. Blah, blah. It was anyway. I don't even know what that church was called in case they're watching. But
don't tell us.
On the way home, just before I'm about to leave, right? They decided they'd have a collection.
Oh, I love that.
Right? They'd have a collection. It wasn't for me.
What?
No.
Oh no.
It was for him.
It was for Sarah.
It was for Eden. He works for Eden, and he got all the money. It cost me money to go on that gig.
Oh, mate.
I didn't even give you expenses out of it, did I?
I got nothing, and he got all the money. The collection was quite a good collection, in fairness, but I didn't get a penny. You got $2,000 for your cruise gig. He got a few £100 for his Eden project, and I got robbed of about 25 quid.
Everyone's happy.
Is this why you've invited me on, Alan, to like basically complain about all the times?
I've done another gig for him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I can't remember what charity that was. The one in Manchester or Leeds.
Leeds,
yeah.
recently, yeah.
Recently I done that one for him. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've got another cruise gig, mate. Hope something.
British Heart Found. Be Happy for no, BH40. It was the British Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
It was a black tie. Fundraiser.
Yeah, after dinner sort of thing.
Sounds like a very worthy cause.
Yeah,
The kind of thing you could
the
give your
cause was
time
fine.
free of charge. Or?
I did. Cost me 16 quid to park next door. Tony, he's had me off a few times. Honestly. He had me drive to Nottingham once. Come on, mate, we'll go to Nottingham. You can do 5. Right? Took us all the way to Nottingham. We got there, no crowd.
No one's in.
No one turns up. Don't you remember that one?
No,
we stood around for an hour. In the end, we called it, and there was no one in.
We went to Nottingham.
We were on the Super God Comedy Squad retreat, which is a retreat for like Christian comedians that help each other write stuff and all that. It's very good. Although we haven't really had one for the last couple of years, have we? Probably.
Yeah.
But and yeah, me and you decided to travel to Nottingham for one of your gigs that you had booked in, and you didn't have a car. So hey. I know. I'll get Finnegan again. I'll give him a 10-minute spot. Yeah. Dear me. Honestly, we've had some good gigs.
We've had some
cracking gigs together.
Alan's been on. I run.
I'll get to that.
Well, let's get to
we
it
did
now.
Comedians and Carols.
Yeah.
For our church.
This is the last gig that Tony's ever given you.
I know. I don't care. He doesn't give me any. He gives me the free one, so it doesn't matter, does it? Comedians and Carols. He was good in our church, wasn't
Fantastic.
he? That was a good night. I'm actually bigging you up for that one.
That was a great night.
We done Comedians and Carols in the Adelphi. That was a good night.
Fantastic.
We had a good night there. But he does this thing. What's it called? Into the Wild.
Yeah, Journey into
the Wild.
Men's retreat. Yeah.
You just explain what it's about, Tony, and then I'll give my perspective.
I basically get recalcitrant Baptist ministers.
I don't know what that means, Tony. Recalcitrant. What's that?
So a couple of times a year, but at least once a year, get a load of men together, get a YHA or some retreat centre out in the middle of nowhere, and then it's the idea of wildness. So you were basically you go into there's walks, there's setting fires, there's doing circle time discussion, but it's the idea of exploring the inner wildness, what's going on inside emotionally for these guys. And there's a rhythm of like there's liturgy in the morning, some prayer in the morning. There's but it's mainly about getting to go deep and to discuss and talk where they're at. And there's bits of teaching about. I do stories, myths and stories, and then we go through them. Anyway, it's better than it sounds.
I think that sounds great. I'd sign up for one of those.
Yeah, you've got one.
I'd sign up.
Now, in fairness to Tony,
Yeah.
I was having one of my bad times where I want to quit everything again. You know what I mean? And I spoke to Tony on the phone, and he said, "Mate, you should come on our journey into the wilds. You'll love it." And I heard the title, and I thought, I'm not going to like that. No, I'm not going to like. He didn't tell me what it was about.
Yeah.
He just come, mate, come. And in fairness, he did that for me. Just come, mate. Don't worry. Just come. It'll be great. You'll love it. Ah! Right? That was my Tony Vino impersonation.
That's reasonable.
And literally, we get there. We're in some place in Huddersfield, right? And they've got a stick. They've got a stick that you can't talk unless you've got hold of the stick. Right, and you're passing this stick around, which looks like a Morris Johnson sort of pole, only a miniature one for like.
I can't believe you actually went. This is honestly,
and him and his mate are sat on these little stools that are about this big, that are meant for praying with, and I'm thinking, how are you even on that? How are you going to get up? Right, then he's got me sitting in a field for 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours,
and
every 3/4 of an hour or something,
half an hour,
they sent a hooter off
Yeah.
And you had an envelope, and you had to open the next envelope and read what was in the envelope. You were supposed to be contemplating, weren't you, Tony?
Yeah.
You know?
That sounds good.
Yeah. You will die. That was literally like, I'm already depressed, Tony. Now you're telling me I'm going to die. You're not that important. On a hill for about 4 hours, sat there like, absolute. Then we get back and there's no tea because you've got to build a bonfire and then cook burgers on it, which were like burnt on the outside, red on the inside. I had a lovely time. I loved it.
To be fair, and also what you don't know is that everyone else, they all got like quite nice messages. They were just for you, those ones.
They were all like, God loves you. You're precious. He knows every hair on your head.
Encouraging Bible.
Man, you're gonna die.
Did you not see? Because it all had Alan written at the end of it. You know how important Alan.
Oh, dear.
That's hilarious.
And at the end, I can't remember. I think you remember what I said at the end, but I can't.
At the end, right?
We had to all give feedback.
We were all sat round this. Imagine that we'd done sort of 3 days.
You know me.
Two nights, 2 days, and then on that last night, when we were around the fire, I said, right, let's just wrap up and share the journey. And everyone was like, "This is where I've been. This is where." And it got to Alan, and the thing is, with his stick, and he just went, "All right, I'm glad I came." And that's all I got out of Alan. I'm glad I came.
That was the politest I could be.
That's super high praise.
That is the politest I could be.
He's at the time of his life.
Oh.
I'm glad I came.
Oh.
Here we go.
Dear me.
Barbara's actually said, Tony, someone needs to get Tony some better earphones. His keep falling out. You're having a nightmare over there,
Is it
Alan.
too big?
No, they're too small, I
Do you know
think.
what?
They're
No,
too small.
I have a very small ear canal.
Yeah.
So I need very small ear gondolas. The hole that goes into me is remarkable. Never fit. I never fit normal size.
You should have put that on your
on your
rider.
Rider, when you come.
Kid size earbuds, please. Yeah,
You're in a children's ear.
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And Kevin's saying, doesn't the guy die at the end of Into the Wild? It's not like that, is it? The weekend away.
I nearly died.
That's it. When I pass
Food poisoning.
Yeah.
Off the burgers, trust me.
I'll go get us some mushrooms from the field. And then just. That is
Very
true, actually.
good.
Well, the thing is, we all die in the end, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
So
We do all die.
Start memento mori. Start at the end, because Alan knows this. When you're writing comedy, you actually start at the end and you work backwards. That's what makes things funny. So you start with a punchline. You see.
Is that where I'm going wrong? Why didn't you tell me that 6 years ago?
So you.
I signed up for your comedy course and I haven't even done it.
Have you?
I paid and everything. And I haven't even done it.
He's literally paid. Listen,
You told me I could have it for free.
I did.
But I paid because
yeah.
the free link you sent me didn't work. Just saying. Right? So I paid and then I haven't
Oldest
done
trick
it.
in the book.
Yeah,
Tom.
that's it. Here you go. It's a promo code. Book on with that.
That's what it was. It was like for Purcell or something like that. Was that?
Very good.
Oh my goodness.
Very
We've had a good laugh tonight. Thanks, Tony, for coming
Thanks,
on and
mate,
it's been boss.
appreciate
But so you've got a faith. How did that happen? Well, you tell us about that.
Oh,
Sorry.
right. So, yes, I do have a faith, and it's an interesting, like, I would say, for me, faith has been a really like, like Blackpool Rock. It's hard to separate myself from my faith. Like
Right.
you cut me in half, like Blackpool Rock. I have that sort of. It's written through me. So, So how did I? So I would say it's interesting. I'm one of those people. I would say that I always had some quite an innocent and deep belief in God, even though I was brought up, and my dad is quite like my dad's an atheist. My mum is probably an atheist, but more kind of like just an agnostic, but just in such a way that she doesn't think about it. She does crosswords instead. Right? So basically, like they're not, like a family that aren't bothered. Like like the sort of existential reality. Mum, what about the resurrection? And she says, which channel's that on? That sort of thing. They're just not interested in anything outside of what's going on right now. And they're ace. I love the fact they're fantastic, but they're just not interested in the larger questions. But so I always had this sense that of like, I think I always prayed as a kid. And I remember, right, because I've got two older brothers, right, Stuart and Gordon, right, and brother Stuart told me, and once my dad told me off, but he couldn't tell me off because I wrote in biro on the wallpaper in my room. I wrote "I love you, God," and that was the only thing. And so I graffitied my own wall, and he was like, hey, my dad's Spanish. Hey, bloody, what are you doing, hey, boy? So he didn't feel he could
tell you off for that.
Yeah, smack me around for that one. So he just, but that was I didn't know that, but my brother told me about that. And so skip forward, getting to sort of 16, 17, which is in terms of it's quite a shift in time in your life. You was at college, thinking about. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was kind of thinking about that. What sort of life was about? Anyway, there was a girl that I'd had this romance with for years, but it was sort of like she'd had a boyfriend through school for years, but we'd almost got together before that. Then it came to first year of college, she broke up with someone. She's called Stephanie, this girl, and then we got together. But she was in
friends
serious...
on Facebook.
So hi Steph, if you're there,
it's me, Tony. Still holding the flame.
You might want to switch off for this bit. So, but she was. But anyway, she was going to this church in a place called All Saints in Higher Walton, Preston. And there was a Sunday night youth group, 16, 17, 18-year-olds all gathering. And I just wanted to spend time with her. And so I went to this, I'd never been to church my entire life. And I went to this quite high Anglican one. And they did things like what's called the Nunc Dimittis. I don't know if you know, where you sing, hallelujah, all this kind of stuff. And so I just would stand up and sit down. I just wanted to spend some time with her. So I didn't know what was going on. And then one day, a friend... from college, my friend Peter, right? He came because you start sort of going, and other people would come along. He had an older friend called Simon, who was maybe in his sort of late 30s, and Simon sat at the front, and he saw me come in, right? And I'm quoting him on this. He felt God say something to him. He felt a sort of what you call almost like an unction, a spiritual nudge to go speak to that young man there. And he came up to me. And he said hi, and we got chatting, and he said, and it was a Sunday morning, that was it. So the service was finished, and he said, what are you doing today? And I said, well, in that age, you don't have much to do. I had big plans to rearrange my sock drawer and stuff like that, but I was like, not much today. He said, do you want to come to my house, right? And we can have a read of the Bible, right? And I was like, and you're like, all right. And so he took me to his house, and my friend Peter went as well. And then in one day, just like in an hour or two, he said, do you know the story? Do you know what, do you know who Jesus is? And do you know the story of, the gospel? And so he explained that, who Jesus was, and basically, that life isn't random, that I'm, that God created the world with love, and there's an intention for all of us to have a relationship with God. And death isn't the end, right? But actually, there is, that someone's gone before us, and there is hope for future and resurrection, and that all things will be made well, and I was like, oh my God, and I was totally struck by it. In one day, he told me, and then I went home, and so that day, and I knew nothing about this. Like he had this, so he said to me, I remember at the beginning of this session, he said, "Have you got a Bible?" And I said, "Yes, I've got a little red one, right, in my house." And I was given it at school, and it's a New Testament and Psalms.
Yeah, Psalms.
I didn't know what it, because I'd literally not read it already. And he goes, "It's a silent, Psalms." And I went, and it was that day that journey started, and I started reading about it, and I basically said, "Right, okay, God, thank you, Jesus, for what you've done." And the there is hope for not just this life but the life to come, and I started there, and I was like 17, and I've not looked back since. And my mum's like Scottish. She's like, and my middle brother Stuart is he's like real ardent atheist. You know what I mean? If he stubs his toe, he goes, "Oh, Dawkins," like proper. He's a science teacher, and he's like a really like proper And I really respect how atheistic he is. Like he's like doesn't even really believe in love, because you just said, look, there's just all chemicals, and it's just biology and time. He's very very authentic with it. I was like, brilliant. And some mum was like, "Stuart, you got to talk to your brother. He's got religion." So and
he's was she the Crankies?
Yeah. So he's like there talking to me. So that was the beginning of it, really. And, but I would say, interesting, that whole journey. 17, amazing, but it wasn't that I was in rebellion against God. I'd just never been told the story. I wasn't against like following God. I just had never been told. So I was like, wow. So for me, it was just a continuation, I think, which was already started back when I was doing graffiti on a wall, since I was 7.
So you're 17.
17.
And You've had faith since. Call yourself a Christian.
Now. Yes,
44 now.
Call myself a Christian.
What difference has that made in your life up to this point?
Well, as you know, Alan, having a telos of resurrection gives you a metaphysic of hope, doesn't it?
Alan does know that. Did you do that on your theology? He knows more than you.
Come on.
And he's
Tell
not
us
even...
about the hypostatic union. So basically, genuinely, right, for me, it's about identity, like first and foremost. So in being a comedian for 17 years, there's quite, it can be quite a sort of, it's an outward focused work, and you go, and it seems a very strange thing. You drive somewhere to win over and impress a group of strangers, and I love comedy. I love getting
occasionally,
but as soon as I get to a gig, I kind of I'm keen to go home. But you sort of like, so you drive for hours and do this, but it can in some ways be quite needy, and so there's a sense in which the grounding of faith, you come down to it, and you come down to root reality of who we are and where, if we are breathed into existence, and we are and we are known and we are loved, and our identity isn't in how much people think or don't think of us, but the fact that we are known and loved. That's really grounding. So I'd say for me, it's been a really grounding reality for my soul. But also, it's an amazing worldview, because I'd say it's the true worldview that there is hope, that death isn't the end, but actually, because if literally we're going to die and that's it, then there's a sense in which you can have a sort of stoic, well, let's make the best of now anyway, because nothing really matters. Whether we live a life of great ceremony or not, we all just become dust again. But actually, this sense of no, we're part of a bigger story, which is that all will be made well, that this that will rise again.
I feel better now about you telling me I was going to die on a hillside in Huddersfield, because there was hope. Apparently, you were offering me hope, weren't you?
I was offering you.
I get it now, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Metaphysic of hope.
Thank you very much, Tony. Yeah. It's been amazing talking to you up to now, but
thank you.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just intrigued. I'm really enjoying and we had Rob and Lou last week, and they were saying a similar thing in terms of some of the stuff on identity and how, like, just viewing, having that as your default position, like viewing the world through this lens of I'm loved, I'm accepted, you know, and especially Lou was talking a little bit about comparison culture and things like that, but especially for yourself, where, like you say, you are turning up literally to a room of people and you have to entertain them and make them like you to be successful. Yeah. And for Alan, that doesn't happen often. For you, probably a little bit more. but so just having that sense of that sense of acceptance from your creator, like, it feels like that's been important to you. That's made a difference.
Yeah, on a it's not just an intellectual level, but on an actual deep soul level. You know, there's I can't remember which mystic said, you know, all Teresa of Avila, all
Meg.
will be well. Oh, Mystic Meg. All will be well. All manner of things will be well.
Yeah.
And on a deep soul level, being known, being loved, and in there's a great word in the Bible. It's the idea of communion, in constant communion with God, just talking all the time, and just be. And there's a sort of wry sense of, like, whatever happens, even if things are difficult or even bad news or things bad happen, you know, there's a sense in which the sort of freneticism of that can come from, you know, like having to be either be successful or be or self-protective or whatever. Actually, if you know the world is held in benevolent hands, that's a really good metaphysic, because it's you know, and it is fundamental. You know, the Jewish worldview was, in the ancient Near East, was absolutely mind-blowingly different. It was a diametrically opposed paradigm to what was held at the time in other ways. You know, so you had like things like the Babylonian, you know, Babylon, which was the arguably the greatest, the first greatest empire, not just in terms of military stuff, but in terms of a world view that infused people's mind, made out this idea that the world was created. Marduk, God killed his mother Tiamat, and out of the cadaver of the dead god, the world was created. So violence was held within the very idea of creation. And then at that same time, in the ancient Near East, you had this wanderer, Abraham, you know, and God called him from, you know, Ur of the Chaldees to go walking, and he started a story, and through you, all nations will be blessed, and through you, and you know, and your offspring, all nations will be blessed, and the nation of Israel a blessing to all the nation. But also through that, the story and the very thread of hope that, you know, culminated in Christ and beyond. But in that worldview said God created the world and looked at it and said it was good, and there's no violence in the world that He created, and it said. So the actual world was created with love, peace, justice, and that's its essential DNA. But it's mind-blowing stuff.
So good, so good. And then like, how has your family responded then to having like a front row seat to your life since becoming a Christian? You know, and that's a big change. You know, I think some people come to our church, you know, because we don't. If people come to our church, it doesn't tend to be other Christians. They stay away from our church. But if people come to our church, if they come to faith, and then they often will have like their families thinking, what is going on here? Because like you say, they're embracing a totally different way of seeing the world. How is your and you know, would you be doing comedy if you hadn't come to faith? You know, have they seen, what have they made of that? Do they think you've like absolutely lost it, or do they?
It's amazing that I don't. You know, there's a level to which you go, because I would say it. You know, I feel genuinely infused with a very hopeful worldview, in that it's the one that, you know, is the story that's, you know, brought through Scripture, and that's made me very hopeful and sort of, I would say, quite a jovial, positive person. But I don't know whether my family or anyone I meet thinks that's just because that's the way he is or whatever. You know, there's the sense in which it's hard to separate the person from the the personality from the who you are and what you believe. But my family are they love me, accept me. I would say they still have a level of bemused disenchantment at my dogged holding on to the fact that I really believe this stuff. It's not just and even like, it's great you got faith. Oh, it's great that you got to, no, it's either true or it's not. It's either like this story is either complete nonsense or it's everything.
Yeah.
And so I go, okay, well, if that's true, then it deserves everything my whole life. If it's not true, fine. Then, in one sense it don't matter because we're all just dog meat about to, in the grinder of a nihilistic existential hopefulness.
That bit wasn't in my envelope.
And that's fine. But if there is someone that's gone and died and gone through the grave and is like, I'm coming back for you, and you're gonna rise again because I have. Man, that's everything.
Mind blowing,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So good. Thank you, Tony. Thanks so
thank you,
much,
Tony.
mate. Like, just picking up on the chat a little bit. My wife Emma at some point said, "Is Tony still speaking English?"
That'll be in that bit, where he says all them big words to try and look
It was
clever.
It was very. Could you
He
preach
is
at our church? Could you do Alan's job?
He's been to our church. He's preached at our church.
Yeah, I don't think I got...
On the way back, when I was driving him back, he took me the wrong way.
What?
That was the journey I was telling you about the other when we was at, because I'll let you navigate a little bit of this bit, but he was literally like, I know where I'm going, and we ended up in the total wrong place because he forgot where we were actually going. We were miles away, but anyway, never mind.
And the other one is Carolyn's been back on.
Oh, Carolyn, your fan,
saying,
top fan.
She said, yes, I've Googled Tony Vino and very impressed with his history, etc. Wow.
You do realise, Carolyn, he wrote that himself.
Yeah, he's done his own Wikipedia
That's his bio.
page. I think you've gained a fan tonight, Tony.
You have.
Carolyn,
Carolyn.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Send me your address, Carolyn, and I'll be round
Yeah.
with my Poppers and Lion King routine.
Very good. Are you at Southport Comedy Festival, she's asking?
No.
No,
he's not. Never
Thanks
mind.
for asking, Carolyn. It's always nice to end on a bit of a flat note.
Wasn't invited. I'm not myself. So.
Very good. Right, well, it's time.
It is time.
It's time for Finnegan's Fortunes.
Yeah. You ready for this?
Finnegan's Fortunes.
Tony?
Are you ready, Tony? Have you
This
got
is
your...
where you get to win some.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could
Yeah,
win.
oh, you
That's
could
not
win a
it. I was
prize.
about to just take my earbuds out.
No, you could win.
That's all you've done all night is take your earphones down.
You could win some. So press the buttons on. Which
we've
one
been
is
talking
it?
for so
That'll
long.
be church merch, mate. You could win some
merch.
church merch, which is
Church
behind
merch.
you.
So there's a
In that
selection of
corner.
things behind you.
There's Ray's horn there. No, not the records on the wall.
The big teddy bear.
The big teddy bear, you can have that. The
dartboard.
Ray's horn,
Oh my
the
goodness.
guitar with no strings.
PlayStation 3.
The Disney clock. The PlayStation 3.
VHS.
Yeah.
Is this Halver?
Yeah.
Up for grabs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know what that is?
Have a nice day.
What is it?
It's like it's basically
You get this.
nougat for
Oh.
Turkish people, isn't
Oh,
it?
you Tory. You absolute Tory.
You are definitely... I'm a fan of Tony. I always have been.
Oh, Tony, you've just done me head in, lad. I
Right.
forgive you for all them free gigs. You know, when you've earned a fortune and I've earned nothing, I forgive you. But it's nugget.
Right.
Come on.
You're dodgy now, mate, I'm telling you.
But it's spelled different to nugget.
It's not spelled nougat. There's no R in it.
No, but nugget is
No.
N-U-G-G-E-T. Nougat is N-O-U-G-E-T.
Yeah, but there's no R in it. So where's the R coming from? Don't say it's a silent R, because it's not there. It's a missing R.
Okay.
It's nugget. Only people from down south say nougat.
Here we
And
go.
Tories.
Here we go. Finnegan's Fortune. Okay, so this is your chance, Tony. And we thought,
right.
we didn't even get onto this, but we thought because you're known for doing gigs you've just got back from, was it a cruise where you were doing a gig?
It was in Mallorca Wednesday to Saturday.
Very good.
Very good.
And so we asked 100 people, where is their favourite holiday destination?
And you have to answer.
And you have to answer. This is you. This is Finnegan's fortunes. So,
favourite holiday.
Holiday.
We've got 6 answers you've got to get. You've got 3 you can get wrong. After 2 wrong, we'll let the people help you.
Flipping heck. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
that's really tough. I'm going to say, here we go. Is it countries? Like, did you say Spain? Spain.
Okay.
If Spain,
he's saying Spain. Let's have a look.
Is he saying Spain?
Costa del Sol, Spain.
Well, which one are you going? What are you settling on there?
Well, they're both of the same thing, aren't they? But let's go.
We're going Spain.
Let's go Spain.
You're going Spain.
Here we go.
Okay.
Is Spain up there?
Is Spain up there?
Spain is up there.
It's our
second answer.
There we go. Excellent.
Most popular.
So
23 people. 21 people said that.
Okay. If we said Spain, then I'm going to go Greece.
Greece. He's gone Greece.
He's flying now. He's flying.
This,
he said Greece.
See, this is because he's been on all the cruises while I've been on a hillside in Huddersfield.
Now, I'm going to go controversial in this, right? So people have gone favourite holiday destination. Right?
Yeah.
So I've done Spain, done Greece.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, right. I know this will be wrong.
Okay.
But
I'm doing it anyway.
Cornwall.
Okay. Is that a favourite of yours, Tony?
I love Cornwall, yeah. Port Isaac and all that.
Our survey said.
Let's see if it's up there.
I know that. Okay, here we go.
Got to remember where it was asked, Tony. It was asked around here.
Do you know? Can I just
around it? Yeah, there you go. Then so
think that through.
You've got a few people. Let's have a look. You've got a few people up here. Turkey teeth. Turkey. Tal saying turkey.
Teeth.
Mark Williams says Maidstone.
One of my favourite destinations, that, Mark.
Tal saying Butlins. Miriam saying Germany. Emma saying Mexico. Ooh. Craig saying Argate. Is Craig next door?
Argate, yeah.
As in what?
Argate, it's a place. Argate.
Oh, okay. He spelt it Argate. As in Argate.
Because,
It's a scouse.
That's because his mum and dad are staying on the drive in a camper van. They are, I'm not messing.
Are they really?
Yeah. Well, I think so. The camper van's there. This is mum and dad's.
Right. I'll say Craig, I'll say goodbye on the way home tonight. Okay, sorry. Anyway, where are we going?
So come on.
What are you thinking?
Because I'm wondering whether France is. It's not been mentioned.
It's not been mentioned, has it?
I'm going to go France.
You're going France. Okay.
France.
Is France up there?
Our survey said. Oh,
I've only got one more.
You've only got one more life left.
You've only got one more
Ray's
life.
Horn's going to be safe for another week here.
It's got to be Turkey then, hasn't it?
Turkey.
Turkey teeth. Turkey Barnett.
Come on, hey.
Get yourself some turkey teeth, lad.
Let's have a look then. Let's see. Is
Bernard
Turkey?
Matthews says, come on.
Is it up
Turkey,
there?
is it up there?
It is the sixth answer.
It is the sixth answer. 8 people
said Turkey. So you've still got the top answer.
They all had really shiny teeth.
Yeah, you've still got the top
and a
answer.
Proper Barnett.
I was going to say Centre Parks, but again, if it's Liverpool, it's got to be. We're going to have to say Butlins instead, aren't we?
Butlins.
Yeah. Come on.
What does our survey say on Butlins, Tom?
Says,
We've got people who work in Butlins.
Let's see. We have.
Our survey says Tom's pressed the wrong button and it's gone off. That's what our survey says right now. Oh, it's coming back now.
It's coming back. Here we go. Our survey
Someone's
says.
opened the door again.
It was wrong.
Are you kidding me?
Sorry, Tony.
Tony.
Top one. What was it?
Let's see. I'll tell you now. The top one. Well, let's
go 4 first.
Let's see what people were saying actually.
Yeah, and see if any of them have got it.
Barbara said North Wales. Kevin Scunthorpe. Ray said Pontins in Ainsdale. Mark's gone a little bit more further afield. Disneyland.
Oh, very nice.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Kathleen said Huddersfield. Let's have a...
Yeah, on a hill.
People need to... I think you were thinking
to...
Good callback, Kathleen.
Very good. Very good. So 4.
I think I spoke to her for the first time this week.
You did. Dubai, 4th. Oh, people did say Dubai. Mel said Dubai.
Really?
Yeah.
So a few people said
3. Blackpool.
Come on.
And top answer.
Top answer for round here.
For Liverpool. Top answer.
I think this is wrong, actually. I think they meant somewhere else. But you say it.
Rill.
Oh, Rill?
Yeah.
I think it was Towan. Robin Hood camp.
I've never even heard of
Give us a shout out if you've been to the Robin Hood camp in Towan. I'm sure you'll get loads of scouts and go, yeah, we went there when we were kids all the time. Robin Hood camp in Towan, yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, no, that's because... Do I need to say it? You're a Tory.
I never went there. We'd
Like
never
this
go.
fella over here saying nougat.
Well,
What's that?
I think it's got to that point in the night, mate, where we need to find out whether Tony is going to be welcomed into our VIP membership.
We do, yeah.
And so, Tony, the way it works is we get you to tell a story, mate. And if the story is fire, then people vote.
You go on the wall, mate.
And they put you on the wall, okay?
Get him on the wall, lad.
But
all right.
Sadly, if it doesn't go so well...
And you've already started bad with nougat. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. That was the worst thing you could have said.
I tell you what.
Hang on. If it goes bad...
Oh, sorry.
You're bad, lad.
You're bad, lads.
So that's Shakespeare. So I've got. So here. Well, do you want to decide or get your listeners to decide what they prefer? So I can do.
Go on. We can do. Mark did that, and that was quite a successful tactic.
Yeah.
Worst ever gig. Right.
Yeah.
I think it was in the bottom of a swimming pool, wasn't it?
Worst ever gig. Yeah.
Okay. Worst ever gig.
And basically the worst heckle that ever went with that.
Okay.
2, an unfortunate meeting with a prostitute. 3, what's happened to my what's happened to my car?
Okay. 1, 2, or 3. So I'm gonna
put them in the chat.
Put them in the chat. The quickest
gig,
people in there.
Unfortunate meeting with a prostitute, number 2, and what's happened to his car is number 3. So
okay.
quickest
let's
people in.
Throw them in there, and we're gonna
maybe we do a Tom's top tips before. Have you done it?
I've forgotten that. No, we've left it now.
We've left it.
I feel bad, but I've left it. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what the consensus is.
You just have to walk around aimlessly again.
Yeah, it's 3. It's 3.
It's 3.
Yeah,
his car.
People are saying
After them
car.
options, do you want to know what happens with his car?
I
mean, I'm thinking.
Well, hang on. One's coming through pretty strong now.
One's got to be the one. The worst gig ever.
One.
I mean, I want to hear one.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
worst gig ever.
Yeah. Let's go.
It was around the.
It was with Finnegan. Had to come on after that lunatic. Got up and upset everybody talking about smackheads. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
So picture yourself, Maidstone. So worst gig ever was Hull, and I went to Hull and back. Right?
I'm not going to lie to you. It was my worst gig ever as well, Hull. I wasn't with you, but it was my worst gig ever. Yeah, ever.
Where do comedians go to die?
Hull.
That's
Huddersfield's a hill.
Exactly. We've been P&O have replaced us with agency workers. Right? All comedians. So there's actually a good comedy club in Hull now called the Comedy Lounge.
Yeah, that's the one I died in.
But
Paul, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Paul Hazel, brilliant club.
He's a top guy, yeah.
Yeah, nice guy. He used to be. He's a hypnotist, isn't he? Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. So he hypnotizes.
No wonder I was rubbish.
Yeah,
fell asleep on stage.
Yeah. You're like it was
sleep.
What was the fee again? 50 quid. I thought it was 50 quid. He's like a Jedi. So I was. So it was around the time of just before the Olympics, and the Hull produced a very good. A boxing Olympian called, I think he was called Luke Smith, right? And again, Dan Bellamy will Google this one for me. But there was he won gold in the Olympics. Anyway, so soon after the Olympics, there was a charity dinner in the Hull KC Stadium, and they had a boxing ring in the middle, and they had about 600 or 700 people eating a sort of posh dinner around tables around it, and there was going to be 10 fights, and he was like the guest, the guest of honor. And the organisers went, wouldn't it be a good idea to have a comedian before the fighting? And it wasn't a good idea at all. And and even the guy bring me on did it with the mic
Let's
that comes
get
out.
ready, Tony Vino. Let's get ready to rumble.
We have 10 rounds, 10 fights to the before that, Tony Vino. They didn't even say I was a comedian, just like Tony Vino.
No.
And basically, Carolyn Keegan was there, going, ew, whatever she's called. Who's this?
Carolyn Gardner.
Carolyn Gardner is there. Oh, I thought she was Keegan. Right, Carolyn Gardner was there. And so I went on, and loads of people, and they were eating dinner, right, at the time. And so I went into the middle of this ring, and I had this microphone. and I started like doing routine, and nobody was listening. It was just a disaster. And this is one of the things. Is interesting thing about comedy, is context is everything. So, Malcolm Gladwell does in his book, The Tipping Point, talks about there's a really interesting social experiment they do where they get a basketball team come on in a basketball court and they start shooting hoops, right? And then this is before a game, and then the audience are watching that basketball team go off. They change their shirts, so it's the same people.
Yeah.
And then the people running the venue, they dip the lights. Okay, same team comes back on, start shooting hoop, but they're not getting as many baskets, are they? Because they can't see the flipping net as well. So say they might be getting one in, one in every 2 shots, or getting 3 out of 5, and then it drops down to like 1 in 5 shots. So they're missing more. And then they survey the audience afterwards, and they say, "What do you think of the teams?" They went, "Oh, that first team were a lot better, yeah." and everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, that first team were way better. That second team were absolute bag of rubbish." So context evidence. So the thing with comedy, it doesn't work in certain contexts.
Yeah.
But people don't realise it's not the
semi-final Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah. For starters, yeah.
Got it in there before you said it.
So I started. Nobody was listening, but it was bad enough. But the microphone wasn't working. It was a wireless mic, and then it kept cutting out over the punchlines. Right. So a guy, I saw him from PA desk run to the front, right, and he stood next to this boxing ring. He goes, "Mate, come here, pass us microphone," right? I passed it. He got it and just went, "You're shit!" and passed it back to me like that. And that was it.
So was he anything to do with the PA or the sound? Who was he?
He was
just
obviously
a random guy.
Just
you thought, I'll give him the microphone.
Yeah. I thought he was official because he stood in the same place. It was like, and I was like, flipping it.
Oh,
and so,
wow.
and you have to do half an hour.
Yeah.
Something happens to the connection.
Oh, let's have a look anyway. Let us know if you're still watching and what you're thinking, if Tony's in or out. Let's have a look. All you need to write is wall or barred. Here we go. Oh, the internet's dying, Tony. Just when you started dropping F-bombs and everything.
I'll get my kits on again, shall I?
Yeah. That's it. Oh, look, people are saying in. Craig saying in. Very good.
Come
very
on,
good.
Craig. But it's all about what Carolyn says.
That's it. What does Carolyn? Let us know what you're thinking.
Carolyn's not going to be impressed.
Becky said talk of cutting out before the punchline. Did the internet cut out?
Oh, did it?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Me? Oh, my goodness.
Very good, very good. Okay, it's the wall, of course. In Wall. Rob Beamish is watching. Rob, great to have you in again. Wall in. Fantastic. That's it. Very good. You're in. Tony, you're in.
Tony Vino on the wall. Means you're a VIP member. You can come anytime to Finnegan's Bar. Join in the shenanigans here. Anytime you like. And we might even get you in for our Christmas special. Are we going to talk about that?
Incredible.
We're going to do a Christmas special, okay? Yeah. And so we're going to... A live event Christmas special. We're starting to plan it and put it together.
Last week for a couple of weeks.
Is our last one for a couple of weeks, but then we're going to let you know about the Christmas special, how you can get your tickets.
That's what you need with podcasts is consistency. Well done, guys. You're taking a week off.
That's it, I know.
I'm going to my daughter's wedding.
Well, okay. But you've got a career to think about, Alan. Come on, get your priorities right.
I'm sure.
This is about to take
I'm
off.
sure if this started taking off, there'd be another pandemic or something, or something. The internet would blow up this time, rather. So when we were all at home and everyone was doing podcasts and making a fortune out of it, and I was on the telly and no one could gig. You know that. Then, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, this what's happening here is the internet would go off like it just has.
Just at your special moment.
Just as we're doing it. Yeah, the internet would go off, but never mind.
Never mind. So, Tony, where can people find you if they want to come and see your gig?
So I live at number 65 St John's Road. Right? Come just past the post office on the left. Yeah. No, come and just find me tonyvino.co.uk. All my gigs are in there, and also information about the men's retreat, which is happening in January.
January.
Yeah.
January. I mean, it was bad enough sitting on a hill in June.
Poor old June.
So they can find out about that there.
Yeah.
I think we'll get Alan back on
Journey
that.
into the Wild, it's called.
Journey into the Wild. It sounds...
Just search for it and just search for lunatics. You'll find it.
Prancing around in a field.
Yeah,
Very
with a
good.
stick with ribbons on.
I think you people
Anyway,
want to
who's our nugget of the week, Tom? We've got to call
Nugget.
this.
I am going for Carolyn Gardner. No
Carolyn
surprises
Gardner.
there. She is my favourite
Great
this week.
call,
Well
yes.
done, Carolyn.
For a number of
Who's
posts, probably.
Carolyn, you smashed it.
you
It's
did.
been brilliant
I would
having
say
you on.
Carolyn,
So
yeah.
you are our nugget of the week. We're going to get you some sweets sent out to you this week, and
We'll pass them to Wills so he can
he can
bring you.
pass them on to you. But
can
very
pass them
good,
on to you.
very good. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks.
Tony,
Tom.
you've been
Mate, we're
Thanks,
so
Alan.
boss.
pleased.
Oh.
Thank you for coming over
Yeah.
and messing around for the evening. It was,
Thank you.
this is, I've got to be honest, this is way beneath you. So thank
is.
you.
You're bigger than this, Tony.
You're big. You are special. You're
You were on the
important.
Britannia last week, you know what I mean? 2,000-seater auditorium, you know what I'm saying, Tony? Smashing it.
Yeah.
Jumping out of a balloon with a Power Ranger suit on. You know what I'm saying? This is far
This is
too low
beneath
for you.
And can I just say, if you ever want Alan to do a gig for you again for free of charge, he'll drive as well.
Well, now you're a member of Finnegan's. That's
That's
one
it.
of the perks.
That's
Yeah.
free access to his diary. Let us know what your online calendar is, and I'll just book a load in.
And there's definitely a number of our crowd who want to see the Lion King at some point, so
Yeah.
they may have to.
We
book
should have
on
him
to-
down at
book
church
on.
at some. Maybe our Christmas special he could come and just do the Lion King bit.
That's it.
Great,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Maybe we'll see what happens. It makes a right mess, by the way. Just might want to warn the cleaner. Anyway, we're going to
Great.
call this.
Go for it.
Thank
Go
you,
for it.
everybody. That's Last Orders of Finnegan's.
Great.
Good night.
Cheers, Tony.
And God
bless you,
bless.
mate. Thank you for
Guys,
coming,
God bless.
and we'll see you all again soon for another night, Wednesday night at Finnegan's. Goodbye.
Bye.